everybody, it's Kelsey. Welcome back to another K-Zip Knits podcast. It's been far too long. In case there are new people here, hi, my name is Kelsey. I am the co-owner, co-dyer, all of the things to do with K-Zip Knits. Chris, my other half, is out getting our snow tires off today because it's June. And we have a few trips coming up this summer. So we figured we should get the snow tires off. So what can you expect today? I will put a couple timestamps in down at the bottom. I'm going to kind of recap our first couple shows on the road, what I picked up along the way, this spring, and then later on, in case you don't want to hear what I've hauled, because I can totally appreciate that you might not want to. You can skip down. I'll talk about a couple things that I have finished recently, as well as a couple things I have on the needles right now. So yeah, welcome. If you want to check us out more on Instagram, you can find us at KZip Knits. Lots of shenanigans on there, as always. Yeah, and that's our gem. You can check us out. Also, I'll throw our website down in below. You can find us in Ravelry, in our Ravelry group, all that kind of things. We've got KALs running right now. We're doing social knitting periodically, that kind of thing as well. So yeah, all those things. If you have questions too, please pop them in below. I will try to respond to your comments, and if there's things you want to see in the podcast that you're like, you know what, I'm really dying to hear about this, or what it's like being a dyer that's on the road a lot, that kind of thing, just let us know. We would love to hear. Also, ideas for what to talk to Chris about, because we need to get him on here again as well, as we get into hopefully a more regular routine of doing this. But without further ado, welcome. It's the middle of June. How is it the middle of June already? I don't know. I've got my, well, it's not so new anymore, but it new since the last time I was on. I've got this wonderful mug. I don't know if you can see, it's actually got like knitted texture on it as well, but it's an argyle mug from the wonderful potter Sharon Shakar. I may have said his name incorrectly, but Creative with Clay. I'll throw his link down below. His pottery is amazing. It's all based on like embroidery, knitting, and sometimes lace patterns, or sometimes just a stockinette stitch like this one is. And his glazing jobs are just amazing. So I'm very happy with this. So grab yourself a cup of tea, coffee, hot chocolate, whatever your jam is, wine if it's the evening and you like that sort of thing. And we shall get started. All right, so it's been, I don't want to even guess at how many months. It's been too many months. It has been a wild while. If you aren't new, you may have known that Chris, my other half and the other part of K-Zip Knits, he back in February severed some tendons on his finger, needed emergency hand surgery, and essentially up until a couple weeks ago really wasn't allowed to use his hand at all. So I haven't had as much time to do things like this as I would have liked, because I've essentially been doing the work that both of us would normally do. But he is back up and running, which is great because we're into show season now, and it's been super fun to be back on the road, to see some of you guys in person, and just to have a great time. And I love this time of year because it's, I don't know, I feel like after having several months, you know, that kind of like November through to May-ish, April, where you don't really like get to see, well, at least this year with COVID and everything, we didn't get to see as many people and hang out as much and visit with friends, family, or fellow knitters as much as I would like, and have enjoyed in the past. It is really, really awesome to be able to go on the road and see some of you guys in person, see some new faces, make some new friends, and all of that. So I thought I would start today with kind of a recap. We have done 2 shows. No, we've done 3 shows now. I lie. We've done 3 shows now. And I will show you kind of what I picked up at a couple of them and talk about those. And if you want to skip those, check out this time. The timestamp here will take you to works in progress and finished objects and all those kind of things. So I thought I would start back in April. You may be familiar with the dyer Isis Fibre Arts. She is also a local Okanagan dyer and a good friend of mine. So we decided we would make the trek up to Dawson Creek, which is about a 15 hour drive-ish from where we are. So we carpooled and we did that, and we went to the Peace Fibre Fest, which was awesome. We had a really, really good time. Really lovely. The ladies at Faking Sanity, which is a dual yarn and bookstore, which I love. There's one of those also in Prince George that has like it's a bookstore and a coffee shop on the main level, and then you go upstairs and there's, I think it's called Top Drawer Yarn if I remember right. And I used to love that because I could go get yarn and then I could go and read a book and drink coffee with my new knitting, which was always awesome. But so the ladies at Faking Sanity organized the Peace Fibre Festival. So lovely. When we got there, they greeted us with a moose in the parking lot at the curling rink where we were setting up, and it was kind of cool because it was like, I'd been joking that, oh, you know, when are we going to see a moose? When are we going to see moose? I've only been seeing signs for moose for these last 14 hours and 2 days of driving. And then we pull into the parking lot and there's a moose just kind of hanging out, chewing on some shrubbery. So I thought that was really awesome. But I will show you, I managed to have a fairly restrained spending experience there because I think I was just too like, yay, people. But I was especially excited, I will say. Crux Fibres from the Yukon, Brittany and her husband John, who was helping out, came down all the way from Whitehorse and were vending. And I have some yarn that my friend Heather had given me from her a couple years ago for Christmas. And I was so excited to like see Crux Fibre in person. She is known for favoring non-superwash yarns and also trying to, as well, spinning fiber. And she also has a really big emphasis on things that she can source within Canada. So like, I think almost all, if not all of her suppliers are Canadian, and ideally a lot of her yarn come from people that she knows directly, like the flocks. Like, so I will show you what I picked up. I just have to move the antlers. I acquired these. I'll tell you about those later, but so I have antlers, by the way. Let me see, where is it? So I acquired this, which is a BFL and Gotland blend of yarn, and if you've hung out with me before, you know I'm obsessed with like Gotland and BFL. But so this is, she calls it low mileage wool, which means it hasn't been through extreme amounts of processing or hasn't been shipped from another country. So this one specifically comes from, was spun at Rosebud River Fibre Mill, which I believe is in Alberta. And it even says specifically which sheep this one comes from. So this one comes from Emil Gotti or Gotti, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, and Kylo. And so I was like, oh my gosh, yes, like you can see, sorry, my lighting is not the greatest today, it's really overcast, but you can see the gorgeous halo on there. So I haven't decided 100% what I want to make with this, but it was just such a special looking skein of yarn, and the fact that Brittany was telling me about the personality of the different sheep that went into it, I really like that kind of thing. So so I came home with this from her, but then I also came home with originally just one skein of this, which is I think it's non-super, it doesn't say superwash or non-superwash, so hand wash, cold, lay flat to dry, so probably not superwash. But this is 100% blue face lesser, and the color is ptarmigan. And I just love the colors on it. So promptly after I got home, I ordered like more. So I now have a sweater quantity's worth. So I'm very excited about that. But so Brittany's, I don't know, I just love her color palette. It's super, super cool. I love her thought process and how thoughtful she is about the bases that she uses, about how she sources her fiber. I just think it's all really, really cool. Oh, and as a bonus, I don't actually have it here, it's on a project in the other room. She does, when I came back, I had forgotten to pick up one of her Lucky Penny markers, but she does these really cool stitch markers that are pennies. You can get American or Canadian, and they're called Lucky Pennies, and she's put like a couple extra little details on them and made them into a really cool marker. And you can pick a year that's significant to you, so it's like your lucky penny. So I picked my birth year as well as one other year that was important to me in my life and kind of things in general. So, but I thought that was a really cool, it's a really neat way too, because in Canada, we don't use pennies in our currency anymore. So if you have like a bunch of extra pennies lying around and you're like, oh, what could we do with this? You could always reach out to Brittany and be like, hey, do you need more pennies for your lucky penny markers or things like that? Because I think it's a really cool, it's a really neat way to get a very personalized stitch marker. And I just love the idea of having like a lucky penny on me. So anyway, so check out Brittany at Crux Fibres. She's awesome. Links down below, of course. So I got that at the Peace Fibre Festival. And as I said, I was fairly responsible. The only other thing that I came home with from Peace Fibre Festival was some DK sock yarn from Rosehill Yarns, Robin in Alberta. And so there's not a lot of people who do hand-dyed heavier weight sock yarn. And I like having a little bit thicker socks. So for me, Rosehill Yarns is like the gold mine, because she does these beautiful variegated ones, and then also comes with lots of really cool minis to pair it with. So I came home with her Okanagan Summer DK sock yarn. And I mean, it's fitting. I live in the Okanagan now, so we'll see how well. As I said, I'm sorry for the lighting today, guys, because it's like not, it's a little bit like combination blowed out and warm, but so isn't that gorgeous though? And then I picked out this mini to go with it. She tends to package minis with them, so you can go and pick out pre-assigned ones. I think they had sold out of this mini with this one combo, so I just bought the mini on its own. But yeah, so I'm very excited to knit these for this fall. I think they'll be awesome. So that's my haul from the Dawson Creek show. And it was cool to go up to Dawson Creek because I've never been up there before. And yeah, just a really, really cool time, and we'll definitely look forward to going back in the future. We also lucked out weather-wise. We only hit snow for like one portion of it on the return trip. So yay. It's always at the end of April when you're going to northern BC. Well, I guess it's not even that north in BC, but it's like far enough north in BC. You can hit some pretty bad weather, so we were very lucky that way, so that was great. But now on to our next show, the Edmonton Fibre Fest. So that was just a couple weeks ago, actually. So that was the last weekend, second to last weekend in May. All the dates are kind of running together now. But we went up. We took 2 days to get there. Chris had never been very far into Alberta before, only the Rockies. And so I suggested that we should, because we're going all the way up to Edmonton, sorry for my phone, it is making noise. Coincidentally, it's Brittany from Crux Fibres messaging me. Hi, Brittany. So I said we should go to the Dinosaur Museum in Drumheller. So if you are not from Canada, or you've never been to Western Canada, or never been to Alberta, you have to check out, if you ever come, you have to make the trip to Drumheller. It's the weirdest thing, because you're driving in the prairies and then all of a sudden you like go into this, what they call the Badlands, and it's just like the terrain totally changes. It's the funnest little town. They have like dinosaur statues everywhere, like comical ones, and then like more serious, like accurate ones that are not something like you'd see on the Flintstones. But the Dinosaur Museum itself is incredible. You can see T-Rexes, you can see, it's super well set up too. I had been to it once as a kid and I didn't really remember, I remembered loving it, but I didn't remember a lot of specifics about it. So it was cool to go again as an adult and see how they have, you start in a section that kind of shows the evolution of a bunch of different things, and you can see kind of like how the human body developed as well. And then you transition through all the kind of levels of extinction as well. So it's like, here's what was extinction level 1, here's what didn't make it, extinction level 2, here's what didn't make it, kind of thing. And then probably one of the more interesting ones that are relevant to today and their research in the museum is that they have a whole section that's like discoveries in the workplace. So for those of you who don't know, Alberta is a big province for like oil and mining kind of stuff. And so they have made some really incredible discoveries in work sites. So they have a whole big room of all of these fossils and bones that they have found on different work sites, including one that I didn't know was going to be there, and I was just like, if you can fangirl over a dead dinosaur, that's what I did. But it's one that I remember hearing about, I think around 2015, something like that. They had found this dinosaur on a work site, and it's one of the best preserved ones. It still has its scales and skin, and it even still had some of its stomach contents, which I just thought was like really cool. I'll throw in a picture that I took here so you can see it, but it's super fascinating, and it's so mind-blowing to go and see how massive these things were. So it kind of, I don't know, it's humbling, but also super just really interesting as well. So anyways, I digress. That is not anything to do with the Fibre Festival. And there's Felix, he's meowing at me. Hi buddy, are you gonna come say hi? Or are you just gonna meow from the background? I might have to go give him food. I was not planning on filming with the door open, but Chris was gone, so I thought that's what I would do. Intermission, and we will continue the Fibre Frolic chat in a moment. Sorry for that digression. Someone just needed a little bit of extra love and attention, which we will give him because we're going away soon. Don't tell him for a little while, so don't tell the kid. So, Edmonton Fibre Frolics. That was our next trip, like I was saying. Told you about the Dinosaur Museum. Fibre Frolic was a really fun show to do. I'd never done it before. And it was great. I have some family that live just south of Edmonton in Leduc on a farm, so we got to spend some time on a family farm, which was really fun. They've got a couple really gorgeous big dogs. They're Pyrenees mixes, and they're just like so fun. So we had a really good time with that and them, and I even came home with some sourdough starter that my great aunt started like over like 70 to 80 years ago. So I'm very excited. I've actually got like I think my 5th or 6th loaf since we've been back, waiting or rising in the oven right now before I cook it. So that was exciting. So the Fibre Frolic is always a dangerous. I shouldn't say the Fibre Frolic is always dangerous. Any yarn show is dangerous if you are near Kate and Jenny. Hi Felix, are you done eating? You don't like me talking to myself, do you? He just ate some food. Yeah, so any show where you're near Jenny and Kate, aka Fidley Dyeworks and Larch Designs, because Jenny and I always end up, I always end up with like more of Jenny's bags. And this time was no exception. But they're always a riot. I love when we're close to them because we just have really good energy and they're super fun and it's always a good time. So I'll just show you what I came home with from Edmonton. So I started out Crafty Bones, who was down the road from us. We finally had like a brief window where there wasn't like 6 people in our booth, and I was like, Chris, I have to go get my slipper linings. And so I came home with these. So they're wool, sheepskin lined slipper bases or insoles. You could put them, she's punched holes in the bases of them so you can just pick up and knit onto them or stitch on a slipper if you've knit it. But I plan to, actually I don't know for sure what pattern I'll use yet with these, but I'm excited for these for the fall. I think these will be great for this winter. I also got a pair of baby sized ones, which you'll see one of them later, but yeah, Crafty Bones. I'm very excited about these. This was my first like, gotta get it. So I got that. The other dangerous thing is we were close enough to Kim and Colin of Gingersnap. And their display is always like high, and they have things that they put on top of their displays. So it's like no matter where you are pretty well, you can always like look at stuff. So I was eyeing this purple bag the whole time, and I'm knitting a dress right now. And so most of my normal size project bags are too small to fit a dress. Go figure. So I came home with this gorgeous project bag. It's one of their backpack bags. So it's like a thick canvas. Has a really nice canvas handle, but it also has backpack straps. How fun is that? And it's got, so this is a pocket, and then there's pockets on the inside as well. So basically this was being used by the end of the day, it's a frolic. So I'm very excited about this bag from Gingersnap. Definitely getting its use, that's for sure. And the color, it was like hard to beat the color. As I said, it was just kind of like, I kept looking over and I was like, ooh, it's still there. Ooh, it's still there. Still there. So when I got him in it, I was like, hey Kim, can I look at your bag? So thanks, Kim. We were adjacent to a new to me dyer, Smallfish Yarns. And I think she lives in St. Albert, which is part of it's like a suburb of Edmonton. And she was very gracious. Our booth was super busy, and how her booth was set up, she kind of had her back and she was standing behind it. And so I ended up kind of hanging out with her a lot, or Chris did. But her yarns are beautiful, and so I could not resist the colors. Like, honestly, the colors are not even getting good justice on this right now. If I hold them up even closer, does that help? Well, that helps a little bit. Anyway, so this end is kind of like purple to blue, and then it goes through the purple or the blues into the light greens. So I'm super excited to make something with these. I'm trying to decide if I will do, I haven't totally decided yet. I have to think about it. But I'm very excited for these. I think they'll be awesome, and they're totally my colors. So thank you, Jeanette. I think it's Janet. Was it Jeanette? Jeanette. From Smallfish Yarns. It was lovely to meet you. And I'm very excited to make things with this. It's so pretty. And then, as I said, I cannot resist Fidley Dyeworks and Jenny Lone Larch's bags. So Jenny and I usually end up doing a trade of some sort. So I came home with this awesome squirrel bag, which I think is super fun. Just like nice and whimsical. And then it's got like a canvas bottom and a leather handle. I always like these two because they're small enough that if I'm like, say I'm out knitting at a show or the farmer's market or something that we're vending at, it's small enough to put my project in it and knit while I'm still, you know, standing and walking around, which is really great. But Kate and Jenny, so Kate is the yarn dyer, they collaborated and did a spring frolic themed kit where they took this really cool fabric and Jenny made a big bag. You can see all the pretty colors of the birds and stuff on it. She also made like a little pouch that went with it as well for like notions and things. It also came with a few stitch markers, which are in another project already. And then Fidley, aka Kate, dyed this gorgeous skein. It reminds me so much of a hummingbird that we used to get by our place. So let me see if I can hold. I might have to try and take pictures to put up elsewhere, but you can kind of see like the influence of the two. How pretty are these? Like, aren't they gorgeous? So I'm excited for these guys, and they'll be really fun. I haven't decided. It's too pretty for socks, even though I think I could use it for socks if I wanted to because it's got nylon in it, but I don't know. It feels like it's too soft and too pretty for socks, so I feel like it needs to be like a neck thing, maybe? Neck thing of some description? If you have ideas of what you would do with this gorgeous skein or favorite patterns, I want to hear, but what are your favorite skein patterns? This one's fingering weight. I totally don't mind adjusting gauge for things, but I would be interested to know what your recommended patterns would be. So yeah, I think that's my haul. I think that's basically what I brought back. Oh, and the antlers. So we're staying at, I mentioned some family, and they have 2 dogs. Well, their dogs occasionally bring back things. So I came home with some antlers, which are destined to be buttons. I just got my Dremel bit that I needed today for trying to make buttons. So I've got, if things go as planned, I will have antler buttons at Knit City this fall. So that'll be exciting. And maybe also I'm coming up to the Great Northwest Fibre Fest in Prince George as well in the first couple weeks of September. So maybe I will bring some there too if I get them done and looking good all in time. But yeah, I think this will make some really cool buttons, and we'll see what else. I've got a couple other antler racks floating around that I've collected, but you know, for now, it's like, what does it do? Anyways, I will stop goofing around. Because probably some of you are here and you're like, well, I don't want to just see what you bought. I want to see what you're working on. So if that's your jam, we're going to do that now. I should first talk about what I am wearing. I'm going to first do a shout out. These are my moon and sun earrings. They're from Bead.Sooke, aka Sarah, and she makes the most amazing beaded earrings, and I love them. I have 4 pairs of them now? 3 pairs? I think I have 3 pairs. Because I've got kind of like a Christmassy paired one, these ones, and then I have, she did some absolutely stunning ones to raise money for Ukraine. So, but I'm wearing these ones today because I really like them. And then for knitting, because yesterday it was summer and like, not yesterday it was cold too. Sunday it was like summer and I was outside in a tank top and shorts enjoying the sun in my hammock, and today I'm like, it's like 18 degrees inside. So this is my Ease cardigan, and I didn't do, there's a button band in the original pattern. I decided to do an I-cord bind off instead, and then it's got this like lace, it's, you think it looks like a cable, but it's actually like a lace design that you can kind of see that makes it do this. And my yarn, so it's called Ease. It's by José Paquin, or You and I Knit, as she's also known. And I knit this in some hemp wool, so it's like part plant, part cheap. So it's like a really good one for this time of year because it's not too warm, but it's also like warm enough. So I'm gonna move this haul of things so I can grab the things I've been knitting, and we will be right back. And we're back. All right, so I'm not gonna, because it's been so long, I'm not gonna bore you with like absolutely everything under the sun that I've been making and whatnot, but I will show you a few of the things that I have finished most recently, as well as the things that I'm also fairly heavily knitting on. One of them I've kind of stalled a little bit because I got into other things, but anyways. So my first finished object up is the Ripple Bralette by Jessie May. And I did crisscrossy straps in the back because I am a large busted lady, and so I like a little bit more support. So I have been wearing this a lot. It probably should go in the wash by now, because I can smell sunscreen on it right now as I'm holding it. But it's been like so nice on the warmer days here, or even just for like in the evenings when I'm lounging at home. And I don't feel like wearing a bra, but I want something with like a little bit of support. This has been really good. I think the amount of support you get would depend on what you knit it in. I personally, there, you can see it a little bit. I'm trying to like figure out the best way to show this off without it just like looking like a pile of ribbing. But I used, what did I use? I used the Pleiades sock yarn from Vegan Yarns, and it's a cool yarn. Not everybody likes it, and I found it first many years ago when I first knit with it. It took me quite a while to get used to it because it has elastic in it. So it's cotton, bamboo, and elastic. But the great thing is that the elastic makes it super, super, super stretchy. So you can knit it and it will actually like spring back, which is really nice. And it's just, yeah, it's been, I love this one. It's something that I would feel comfortable even wearing, like, and I'm generally not the most body confident human, but I would say that this is something that I would be comfortable because of how the yarn works and handles being wet and stuff. This is something I'd be comfortable even wearing at the beach as like an alternative to a traditional bathing suit. Definitely if you're gonna knit this and use it as like a tankini top type thing, you might want to try it out like say at home in your shower or something first, just to make sure that it does what you want it to do. But this has been great. It doesn't go like see-through or anything, and because of that extra elastic in it, it's been super supportive, and just kind of holds its shape really nicely. It doesn't there's no wardrobe malfunctions that I have experienced yet, and I've probably put a good 100 to 125 hours maybe of wearing time into this. I don't know. I've worn it a ton. It's been like nonstop since I cast it off like a month ago. So highly recommend that one. What did I say? It's the Ripple Bralette by Jessie May, in case I forgot to say that. I think I said that, but just in case. The other thing I finished, so I cast this on, I want to say, did I cast this on during the first summer of the pandemic, or I might have cast it on the summer before? I can't remember now. Anyways, so this is a linen tank top. I double stranded some Katia linen. And originally, when I cast on, the number of stitches I used when I cast on was I was gonna knit the Nordic summer tank top, or Nordic light Nordic summer tank top, which I'll throw the link down in below just so you can see it. Beyond the number of stitches that I cast on, I did not follow any of the directions at all. I did, so it starts at the bottom. I did some shaping because I started it out and I was like, it's gonna be a little bit wide if I just keep it that, and I want it to like tuck in a little bit more, and I know that linen and cotton tend to stretch out more over time, so I like did a bunch of decreases, and then I was like, well, I kind of want a different shape, or not that I wanted a different shape, I didn't love how they wanted me to shape the front, and I've done a few experiments lately with how I wanted tops and things to be. So what I did is I actually ended up doing some ribbing across the back for a little while, and then shaped the front part, and then it's kind of like an I-cord style strappy thing. Here, I could even put it on over top of this. It's a little damp because I just pulled it out of the wash. But I think like I need to wash it a few times because it's still pretty like crunchy, if that makes sense. But here, so just so you can kind of see how it fits a little bit more. I also didn't like lay it out very good, but you can see it's kind of more of a deeper thing. It covers like my normal bra that I would wear in the summer. It does cover all of that, so that was kind of my main thing. Or I was wearing it the other day over top of this, which I just threw on the floor. But so it's kind of flares out a little bit at the bottom, and then I had it kind of come in and hug around here a little bit more, and then I'll see if I can show the back, sort of like that. So yeah. But I think this will be like a really good, just like throw it over whatever for the summer. That's one thing I'm discovering living here in the Okanagan, especially after last summer where we had the heat dome and it was like up in the high 40s. Summer tops that I knit in Vancouver, generally speaking, could have like a certain amount of wool in them. Summer tops here, you really don't want wool. It's too hot. It's too hot. It's too sticky. So I think this will be a really good one for me for the summer. Along with my Ripple Bralette, and I cast on something else just last night. I'm not going to show you today, but I'll show you down the road. That's sort of some Noro that's new, that's just cotton, silk, and bamboo. So, but yeah, I don't know. Do you guys think I should like write out a pattern for this? I feel like it would be fairly easy to grade, and I'm bigger as it is, so I feel like because I knit this for like a 48, 50 inch bust. I don't know, what do you guys think? If you like it, let me know. If you think it's something I should write out, I will consider doing that. Yeah, anyways, 100% linen. I think this will be really good summer wear for me, at least. I know linen's not everyone's jam. It is a little bit hard on the hands to knit with, so I think that was partly why I'd abandoned it like many years ago when I started it, because I only had like that much done. But I think the perseverance and sticking with it and has paid off. It's like I'm quite happy with it now. And I've worn it a bunch already. So even though I only finished it like a few days ago. So those are the two main finished objects I thought I would show you today, because those are things that I've cast off in the last few months, or the last month or so, and been wearing. I have tons of other like smaller things, but I figure we'll keep it shorter today if possible, which I know it's not really gonna be that short after everything that just came before this. But so we'll get into some works in progress now. I'm gonna show you the cutest one first. So I told you those wool, the sheepskin booties, I got smaller ones. These are the small ones. How cute are those? But I'm making this pattern. It's called my first sneakers. So it's got like little shoelaces. How cute is that? And it's even got like a little tongue. I think I would make the tongue part a little bit longer next time I make these, but it's super cute little pattern, super easy to knit. The bottom is in the pattern, you don't need to have slipper bottoms. Instead of knitting a couple extra rows and seaming it across the bottom, I cast off and then like crocheted it onto the slipper sole. So that's what I did. I'm trying to remember who it's by. My notes are over there on the computer. Florence Merlin, that's who it's by. I will suggest, if you are going to, I mean, I'm knitting this on a thicker yarn than she recommends, so maybe it's not as bad. I'm knitting this, I think, on Estelle worsted. So I think if you did fingering, it might not be as big of a deal, but I would, for the shoelace part, you're supposed to cast on a bunch of stitches and then cast them off right away. I tried that and I found A, the shoelace was way too long, and then B, I found they were like, it was too bulky. So what I ended up doing is I just went down to like a much smaller crochet hook size, and then I just did like a really tight crochet chain, and I'm much happier with that. I still made it a little bit on the long side, but I feel like I could chop that and weave it in if I needed to. So I have to make the buddy that goes with this yet. But I figure these will be super cute, and the little human that they will go on, it should fit for a while because you can snug it up more with the shoelaces, which is kind of nice. So it makes it, whether the feet are a little bit bigger or, you know, because sometimes babies have those cute little chubby feet, which are so cute. But sometimes they have really like tiny narrow feet as well. So I figured this with the shoelaces makes it fit a little bit, like have a broader range of wearability. So yeah, those are super cute. Very excited about those. I think the original pattern is in fingering weight. I knit it at a very, very dense gauge, so I was trying to think. I think I knit these on 3.25 and 3.5, and I think the pattern is supposed to be 3 and 2.75. So I wasn't like that far off, but I did knit it like at a tighter gauge. So yeah, so that's that. Just watch if you make them super quick, like I made this in an evening. The tongue you might want to make longer. Just check your row gauge, because I didn't check row gauge, and I'm assuming it's probably the row gauge. Mine's probably just shorter than whatever the original was, so that probably just accounts for the tongue not being quite as long as you might want it to be. But so that's that. Super cute, super fun. Another thing I have been working on is my third KAL top, and again, a shout out if you've heard me talk about this top before. Thank you, Kaya. She's in Sweden. She's the one who facilitated me having this pattern, because it's only in Norwegian. It's by Tiril Ibeck. I think that's how you say it. I'll have to look again. But I checked again today just to make sure, and yes, the pattern is still only available in Norwegian if you can find the magazine that it was published in, which is also a Norwegian magazine, which is not readily available in North America. So dear Kaya, the story is that she saw me rave about this pattern and how much I wanted it, and that I was gonna like spend the money to have it shipped from the store in Sweden that I had found that had the magazine, because it's been out of print now for quite a while. And she found it and she sent it to me along with some beautiful wool, which actually, Kaya, that Gotland that you sent me, I'm thinking of pairing it with that Gotland that I showed earlier in this podcast that I paired, because they're like, gauge-wise, they're exact and they're beautiful. So I think I have them all sitting in a bag together anyways. That's my plan. So the KAL top, this is round 3 for me. So I've modified each one a little bit differently. I will say that the original pattern, even once translated, is not in my size, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I don't mind. I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't mind taking the time to adjust size. Sometimes I wish things were more size inclusive, yes, But in this particular case, I understand potentially why it's not as size inclusive, and I'm okay, I can work around that. Also, I will say, for having test knit for size inclusive designs, it makes me almost anxious to knit sweaters for people, because you realize, like, when you write patterns for bigger sizes versus smaller sizes, it's almost like writing two completely different patterns to achieve the same look. So I can totally I really appreciate when people do take the time to do that and to get it graded properly and to have it tested properly, because I benefit from it as well as many of my friends. So, but I digress. This is my KAL top number 3. So this one's going to be a summer edition version of it. The other two I did in Holst, which has a significant amount of woolen. This one does not. It is, do I have the ball band? I don't have the ball band, but it is this lovely cake of yarn. It is called Medina. It's a Barocco yarn, and it's a cotton viscose acrylic blend. And so again, like a good summer option for here in the Okanagan where it gets hot. And I wanted to knit something in, like, I love these colors, but this is maybe not something I would have normally been like, yeah, let me knit a whole shirt out of that. So I'm super excited with it. I love how it's like striping, and I think this will just be a really good addition to my summer wardrobe here. Because I'm trying as much as possible to make my own clothes that I can wear most of the time, and summers here are hard that way, but I love it. It's really, really beautiful, and the weight of this and the drape on it are going to be really nice. I think I am definitely, because it doesn't have as much memory as wool, I think I'm going to have to pick up this edge here on quite a bit of a smaller needles just to pull it in a little bit. So in case you were wondering though, this one has, instead of like a raglan sleeve, let's see if I can make this work. Does this work? Sort of. It's got a contiguous sleeve, so you increase kind of out this way, and then it splits, and then you increase out the sides of both of those. So that's that one. And I just hear that Chris has walked in the door. So I will try to do my last project kind of quickly, so that way he doesn't have to tiptoe around for too long. And then probably my last and biggest project that I have been working on is I have planned ahead. In case you haven't heard, we're doing a frocking fabulous KAL, and the idea is that you knit a tunic, a skirt, or a dress. And hopefully if you're coming to Knit City in the fall, you will wear that wonderful frock and we will get a picture together. So my frock is the Uli frock, and it's by Kirsten Yesla. And I'm knitting the top part of my dress in some yarn I picked up in Norway. This is Hilsvåg Ask, and it's in the marine blah color, so it's the dark one. And honestly, the light in here does not do it justice. And then the whole skirt is gonna be rainbow. It's in County, and so I'm very, very excited. It's getting there. It's not done by any means yet, but the nice thing about County is it does a lot of the work for you, and it keeps this knit interesting because it's a very long knit on very tiny needles. I'm knitting on 3mm needles, and I think I figured it's going to be between 4,000 and 4,500 meters of knitting by the time I'm done. So yeah, but so this is my dress that I'm knitting. I'm very excited about it. It fits really beautifully so far, so I think it'll be a really fun knit. So, but you guys should all participate. It would be really fun. I'd love to see what you guys would make. If you have favorite dress patterns or skirt patterns, I would love to see them thrown in below. This is my 3rd or 4th dress that I've knit. And my 3rd. And I love being able to wear dresses. They're so satisfying. I really like them. But that's it. That's all I thought I would show you for today, just to kind of get back into things. As I mentioned, we have our frocking fabulous KAL going on. We also have our year-long KAL going on right now as well, our epic KAL. There will be we award prizes quarterly for that one, so don't worry if you're like, oh, well, it's 6 months in and I'm only hearing about it now. We'll be awarding a prize at the end of June, but then the prize reset starts in July again. So you can gain entries by just knitting. You get them based on yardage. If you want to get bonus entries, you can follow our monthly theme, which is on our, we just finished pop culture. What is June? oh gosh, I forget what June is. Oh, I'm not very good, am I? But I will pop it in here on the screen somewhere as a reminder as to which one we're on right now. But if you follow the monthly theme, it's all in our Ravelry group. You get bonus entries for that as well. And yeah. So if you guys have things you want to hear about, I have started spinning again, or like relearning how to spin, which has been fun. So I might touch on some of that later on in the summer. But yeah, in general, if you have things you want to hear or any of that kind of stuff, throw it in the comments below or send me a message and we will try to get it covered. And we'll try to get Chris on here one of these days too. So, but for now, I will say thanks for tuning in if you've made it this far, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you at a show in the future or just on the interwebs. So have a great day, everybody.